Hi, I'm Tim Vandersloot. I recently received a question about the tubing that goes from the regulator to the high-speed handpiece and how to create the ability for more functionality using fittings. Ha! Okay, so here we have my high-speed handpiece. And for those of you who don't know, I'm currently using SEM Systems 400XS. It's an exceptional handpiece, and it's just the one that I have on hand right now. Now the question is, the tubing coming from the regulator to the handpiece, many times that's just one straight shot and that's all you get. But if you want to add more functionality, there's a number of things that you can do. This system right here, I have installed a fitting that's a twist fitting. And I just twist that together and it creates an extension making one line out of multiple sections of tubing. So this is one way to do it. Now there are many different ways to go about connecting tubing into a series.
Tube fittings are one of the quickest ways to expand the use and functionality of the equipment that you already have on hand. But there are three keys to selecting tube fittings that you must know about in order to get the right product that suits your needs the best. The first is the inside diameter of the tube, the ID. Inside diameter is very important to know depending on what tube fitting you are choosing. The outside diameter, or OD, is also very important to know, as well as pounds per square inch, or the PSI that the tube itself can hold. This is very important when selecting additional tubing to be used with your tube fittings. Now there are two types of tube fittings. The first is a push-to-connect tube fitting, where the tube gets inserted into the ends, and the push-to-connect type of tube fitting uses the outside diameter measurement of the tube. The second type is a Barb tube fitting. The Barb tube fittings use the inside diameter of the tube to determine the size of the fitting. There are different uses depending on your needs for each type of fitting. Push-to-connect tube fittings does not damage the tube. It just inserts, the tube inserts into the fitting, and there is no damage caused to the tube itself. Now a Barb fitting is a more permanent type of fitting, which does cause some damage to the tube. As the barbs are pressed into the tube, it expands and stretches in order to create a tight seal. Now the reasons you would use one or the other, a push-to-connect type fitting is best if you have a modular situation where you might be connecting different hand pieces to different airlines. If an airline is supplied to you and you have your handpiece with a section of tube attached to it, you can use a push-to-connect tube fitting to attach the two sections of tube together. Now in a more permanent fixture, like at my carving station, I use a Barb type connector because I'm not interchanging it anywhere. So that connection can be permanent, and so I can use a Barb connection without any problems. So where can we purchase tube fittings? Well, there are many places you can go. You can always go to Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware or whatever home improvement type store that you have near you, whatever the name may be, and ask them where your tube fittings and tube connectors are. They might even have a section where they sell tube by the foot, and you can get additional tubing for your handpiece, for your system, if you know the inside-outside diameter of the tube that you're replacing, as well as following the PSI guideline for your tool. Basically, that is, make sure that the tube is strong enough, has a high enough PSI rating to handle the airflow. I run my regulator for my high-speed handpiece at 40 PSI. So as long as the PSI rating is larger than that, I'm good to go. Now you can also go over to Amazon.com and type in tube fittings there. A good place to look is in the tools and home improvement section, or just a general all category search. Another place you can go is to US Plastics. It's just usplastics.com, They have a free catalog if you'd like to see what they have, or just in the fittings tab right here, click on it and it will take you to this page where you have the ability to look through all the selections of fittings. You got the hose barb fittings, as well as just general tube fittings, and a wide selection of different types and styles of fittings that will meet your needs.
All right, so let me show you where you can find the information about the tubing that you have. Okay, so here I am zoomed in on the handpiece itself. Now the red background is going to help us be able to see the markings that have been printed on the tubing. Every section of tubing, every so often, the manufacturer has to place the requirements or how it's manufactured, inside, outside diameter, and those kind of things. So let me see if I can zoom in here, and right there on the tubing you can see the information printed by the manufacturer. Right here the manufacturer has printed the information pertaining to this section of tubing, and every so often the manufacturer does have to place this. It's a requirement. So you can see here it's 1/8 inch ID, which is inside diameter, means the gap on the inside where the air goes through, and the 1/4 inch OD is the outside diameter, or the full diameter of the tube itself. So that's where you can find the information pertaining to the tubing running through your system. So if you need to purchase more, you just match that up, and I'll show you. I have here an inexpensive tube connector. I just want to show you how it works, just so you have a good understanding of what it is. This has 3 segments to it, so I can add something into the line. Instead of just connecting 2 segments together, I have the ability to go ahead and add more functionality coming off one of the ends. So to put it together, just match it up, push the tube into it, and it's secure. If you want to get the tube out, it will release, but you have to push this little knob right here on the end. You have to hold it into the body of the fitting, and you'll be able to pull it out. Sometimes it might be a little stiff, but that's good. You want a good tight connection. And that's all there is to it. Hope you get something out of this, and you can go forward and get the connections and fittings that you need in order to expand your system. If you like the video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go on down and hit the like button. Give me a thumbs up. You can find me on Google+, as well as Facebook, or on the website carvingonwood.com. Until next time, have a fantastic day.